Well, I'm here as an observer and a guest this morning, and it is an interesting turn of events. It appears, and I'm listening and trying to be objective, that there's been a maneuver, orchestrated maneuver by the opposition to get away from the threat of losing the seats that they currently hold. And it is interesting that Mr. Prevost did take the oath, even though he did not participate in the parliamentary proceedings, as a procedure to save Roseau from a by-election. And I'm speaking independently. It appears that the people of Marigot and of Salisbury are apparently prepared to take on the government if they were to show up there in a by-election. So that is interesting. And so maybe this also presents an opportunity for the government to move forward, because their attempts to try to railroad the opposition into going into Parliament under the terms and conditions that previously existed, obviously that has failed. And so maybe it's an opportunity to take a different track. And certainly the positions that have been articulated by the opposition with respect to voter ID cards and the re-registration of voters are things that were actually identified by the OAS observers that were in Dominica. And so the 100 days has passed. I think it's almost 6 months since the election. So we should see some movement on this. I think maybe the focus now should be on this type of the improving of the structures for democracy, as opposed to the cat and mouse game with whether you're going to have 3 parliaments. That strategy has failed. That has failed. And so now I think we need to go back to our drawing board. And based on the comments and the conversation that I've heard from this morning from the President and from the other members of the United Workers' Party, there may be an opportunity for at least an interim discussion, something that could enable the country to move forward, at least until the court cases are held. I think there's a suggestion by the President of the party that the government move forward with the financing of the ID cards and begin the remuneration process of the electoral rolls, and provide the opposition with some opportunity on the state media. I think that is what I heard, and based on the comments that I'm hearing, I think the current speaker may be seen as an objection to the process. Based on the information that we've gotten, there seemed to be a perception of bias on her part, and actually her selection was not on the advice and counsel of the opposition. So maybe they need to go back there again and to begin that process, and to really begin the process of moving Dominica forward. We really need to get beyond the cat and mouse back and forth game. It's not a game. It affects the lives of everyone and in the political process. And then also to begin, the government can begin to focus on the economic issues. We hear from the business community, the productive sector, that there's nothing being done, that the business community is falling apart in Dominica, and we are caught up with these games. So maybe the emphasis of the government should be on those 2 things. One, on the meaningful political reform that's being demanded by the opposition and other persons, which the government should be on board with that without question. And 2, focusing on the rebuilding of the economy that has really been going in the opposite direction for a long time. So those are the comments that maybe from the MRD I would like to leave. We think out of everything there's an opportunity. Certainly the game is up. It's over. This ratcheting up of the parliament has failed. The strategy has failed. And so maybe now the government needs to sit at the negotiating table with the opposition party, with the President of Dominica, to find a solution so that people can adequately represent the people of Dominica and we can move forward. At the same time, the government then would focus its attention on what governments do, which is to take care of the economy and the spiraling crime and all the other things that people are crying about, but these things aren't getting any attention because Parliament just seems to be about whether the opposition shows up or doesn't show up. So that's the comments I'd like to leave from the MRD. Also, we will be hosting the People's Parliament. It's not a parliament, I just want to be clear. It's called the People's Parliament because the people express their views, and the opposition, they're open to share their views on all Dominicans. And the next one will be held in May. We're going to give you a further report on the exact date. It's going to be at La Plaine. and it's going to be something very interesting. We already have persons seeking to participate and to express views we think that's pertinent to the country and also the area. So we are moving the People's Parliament around. These gentlemen, as they've expressed, have been serving the constituents. They have not been in the parliaments for the 80 minutes or whatever, but they're on the street and they're out there listening to and representing, and they should continue to do so. And hopefully, we just hope that this now is a turning point, and this is where the government can say, well, you know, let us maybe change our strategy, as they've shown the need to have an opposition in parliament, else they wouldn't have been calling these successive parliaments. So we recognize this. So let's change the strategy and find a more constructive way to move forward by negotiating with the opposition. Thank you.